There is a reason why some people remain unshakable, no matter what happens. The world sends them chaos, people insult them, their plans collapse, failures follow one after another, and yet they remain still, as if the storm did not reach them. What do they know that you ignore? Most people go through life reacting to everything. Someone cuts them off. Instant anger. A colleague makes a passive-aggressive remark. Their mood is ruined. A stranger gives them a strange look. Doubt sets in. But what would happen if you could free yourself from all that? If nothing, no person, no situation, no external force had the power to affect you? Carl Jung believed that most people are prisoners of their own reactions. They feel like the world is doing things to them, when in reality they only reflect what they do not yet have within themselves. Here's the truth. Nothing can reach you unless you find a foothold within yourself. If someone calls you an idiot and that makes you angry, it's because part of you fears it might be true. If someone ignores you and that hurts you, it is because part of you still seeks external validation. That is why two people can experience exactly the same situation and react in totally different ways. It is never what happens that matters, but what happens inside you. Jung called this the work of the shadow, a process that consists of making the unconscious conscious, understanding that every irritation, every frustration, every emotional trigger is actually an internal message. Most people flee these triggers. They try to silence them, ignore them, blame the world for what they feel. But those who truly awaken discover something revolutionary. The outside world is nothing but a reflection of your inner world. The moment you understand this, you unlock something powerful, the ability to control your reality by mastering yourself. Here is the problem. Most people don't want to hear this. They prefer to believe that their boss, their ex, their circumstances, or even bad luck are responsible for their suffering. It is easier to think life is unfair than to admit that it is you who gives power to everything that affects you. But for those who dare to look deeply, who accept to stop blaming and start observing, a whole new level of freedom becomes possible. The best part is, once you stop reacting, you stop being controlled. You no longer need to avoid negative people or try to control situations. You simply become immune. Not detached, not insensitive, but totally unreachable. The illusion of control and the freedom of letting go. Most people spend their entire lives trying to master what they were never meant to control. They want to be appreciated, want life to be predictable, want everything to go as planned. When it doesn't, they suffer, get angry, feel betrayed, take everything personally as if the universe picked them for a cruel test. But here's the truth. Nothing in this world is really under your control except one thing: your perception. Carl Jung understood what most people ignore. The outside world is neutral. It is neither good nor bad, neither kind nor cruel. It simply is what it is. The only thing that makes it positive or negative is the filter through which you look at it. Think about it. Two people can go through exactly the same ordeal. A breakup, a financial loss, a failure. One collapses and self-destructs, convinced they lost everything. The other sees a lesson, a chance to grow, a path towards something better. The difference? Their perception. Carl Jung once said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." This means that as long as you are not aware of the stories you tell yourself about others, success, your own worth, you will continue to react blindly, believing life happens to you instead of understanding it happens through you. And this is where it gets interesting. The more you try to control the outside world, the more power you give it over you. The moment you need someone to respect you, they hold power over you. The moment you need a situation to go a certain way, it controls you. The moment you need life to be fair, you expose yourself to disappointment. But as soon as you let go of that illusion of control, everything suddenly changes. You are free. Free from the need for approval, free from the fear of failure, free from the exhausting fight to force the world to conform to your expectations. Think about it. Truly unshakable people are not those who control everything, but those who master themselves. Those who stay calm in the storm, unperturbed by chaos, indifferent to insults, fearless in the face of uncertainty. They know something most ignore. Control is an illusion, and the moment you stop chasing control, you become truly powerful. Here is the paradox. When you stop needing things to go your way, they often do by themselves. When you stop fearing others' judgment, you naturally become more confident. When you stop chasing success desperately, opportunities start appearing effortlessly. When you stop resisting life and start letting yourself be carried by its flow, everything seems to align perfectly. And it's not just philosophy, it's also neuroscience. Studies in cognitive psychology show that the more we try to control something, a person, a result, or even our own thoughts, the more resistance we create. That's why those who desperately want to be loved end up pushing love away. Those afraid of failure end up sabotaging themselves. Those who cling to control often feel the most powerless. So ask yourself, are you reacting to life or mastering your perception? Once you understand that nothing outside you has power over you, life begins to look like a completely different game. The mind becomes untouchable. How to remain unshakable in the face of everything. Imagine a scene. You walk peacefully down the street, lost in your thoughts. Suddenly someone insults you, maybe calls you an idiot or says you will never succeed. What happens inside you at that moment? Most people would instinctively react either by defending themselves or feeling hurt. Their emotions take control even before they have time to think. Their heart rate speeds up, anger rises, or they replay the insult on loop in their mind, feeding their frustration. But now imagine another response. Absolutely nothing, no reaction, no emotional surge, just calm awareness. Hey, this has nothing to do with me. That's what the Stoics, Zen masters, and even Carl Jung deeply understood. Nothing outside you has the power to disturb you unless you give it permission. But let's go further. Why are most people affected? Because they identify with a false self, a fragile mental construction based on others' opinions, external validation, and attachment to outcomes. This is why they react so violently when they feel attacked. It's not just an insult, it's a threat to their identity. Jung spoke of the self and the shadow, this hidden part of our psyche where all our fears, insecurities, and unresolved wounds reside. When someone triggers an emotional reaction in us, they do not create the pain. They reveal a pain that was already there. Think about it. If you were at peace with yourself, an insult from a stranger would have no impact. It would be like shouting at a mountain. The echo comes back, but the mountain does not move. So the real question is, why do you react? If someone calls you a failure, is it because deep down you fear it might be true? If someone disrespects you, does it make you furious because you have a deep need for recognition? If things don't go as planned, do you lose your footing because you are attached to a specific outcome? The problem is not the world, it is the way you perceive yourself. True power does not lie in silencing the world, avoiding criticism, or eliminating problems. It lies in developing an unshakable mind, a mind that does not need external validation, that does not collapse in the face of obstacles, that understands all control begins and ends with perception. It's not just philosophy, it's psychological conditioning. Studies show emotional reactivity is a habit. The brain develops neural pathways that reinforce reactions. The more you let the outside world control your emotions, the more automatic these reactions become. Here is the good news. You can reprogram your brain. Neuroscientists have discovered that through mindfulness, cognitive reframing, and exposure to discomfort, you can literally train your brain to be less reactive. Over time, insults stop affecting you. Failures no longer define you. Uncertainty no longer scares you. At that moment, you become untouchable. Not because the world changed, but because you changed. There is something strange in human nature. People believe they react to the world, but in reality, they react to themselves. When someone insults you, words stab like a blade. But ask yourself for a moment, where do you actually feel the pain? It is not in the words themselves, but in the meaning you give them, in the hidden wounds they awaken, in the stories you unconsciously carry for years. Carl Jung understood well. Everything that irritates us about others can lead us to a better understanding of ourselves. It's a brutal truth most people don't want to hear. Nothing outside you has power over you unless you give it. Imagine a mirror. If your reflection suddenly frowned, you wouldn't get angry at the mirror. you would simply understand that it only reflects what you do. Yet when life acts as a mirror, when others trigger emotions in us, we react as if it's the mirror's fault. We point fingers. We demand others change rather than understand the outside world is only a reflection of our inner world. The real question is then, why do we give so much power to what is outside us? The answer is simple: attachment. If your identity depends on others' opinions, you will be a slave to their validation. If it is attached to a specific outcome, you will be a victim of the unexpected. If it depends on your surroundings, you will always be at the mercy of circumstances. But what if you stop playing this game? What if instead of reacting, you became the one who observes? Detachment does not mean absence of emotion. It means being untouchable. It means understanding you are not your emotions. You are the consciousness that observes them. Think of a storm. It roars, lightning strikes, the wind howls, but above it the sky remains intact. You are the sky, not the storm. That is why real power does not lie in controlling the world, but in controlling your perception of the world. And here is the best part. When you stop reacting, you start controlling reality itself. People sense it. They cannot shake you, manipulate you, or affect your inner peace because at that moment, you own your energy. So the question is, how do you enter this state of untouchable presence? That is what we will discover now. It starts with a radical shift in awareness. Understanding you have never reacted to the world, only to the interpretation your mind makes of it. Think about it. Two people can experience the exact same situation and come away with totally different emotions. Someone bumps into you on the street. One moves on, the other takes it personally and stews in anger for hours. The event is the same, but the response is totally different. Why? Because the reaction was never about the event itself, but about the perception the mind has of it. Carl Jung often spoke of the shadow, that unconscious part of our psyche that we repress, the wounds we hide, the emotions we reject. Yet these are precisely the things that control us. Why do certain words trigger us? Why do certain people annoy us? Because they press on parts of us that we haven't fully faced yet. The secret to becoming unshakable is not to suppress emotions. It is to fully acknowledge them and take away their power. Instead of fighting your triggers, study them. Rather than blaming others for causing your emotions, ask yourself, which part of me is being activated here? Imagine a chessboard. Most people go through life playing the pieces, reacting to every move, caught up in the game. But true mastery is to become the player, the one who sees the whole game. Better yet, become the one who watches the game from above, seeing all moves before they happen. That is emotional detachment. It is not insensitivity, it is mastery. You do not ignore emotions. You understand them so deeply they no longer control you. You become an observer instead of a prisoner of your reactions. Here's the incredible part. Once you stop reacting, the world begins to respond to you. People perceive this energy shift. You no longer chase validation, so people seek it from you. You no longer react to negativity, so it loses its grip on you. You stop being a puppet of the world and start being the one pulling the strings. The key is self-awareness in real time. At every moment, you have two choices: react thoughtlessly or observe consciously. The next time someone tries to provoke you, catch yourself in that precise moment before reacting. Feel the trigger rise, but instead of acting, simply observe like a scientist observing an experiment. Detached, curious. That is the moment of power. But how do you sharpen this skill so it becomes second nature? That is what we will talk about next. The moment you stop letting the world pull your strings, you take back control of your reactions and master your reality. Now tell me, what has been your biggest awareness about your behavior? Leave me a comment. And if you're ready to expand your mind, don't miss out on daily wisdom that can change your life. Subscribe to Life Lessons now and start living with purpose, passion, and presence. Join our community and unlock inspiring stories, practical advice, and powerful insights every day. Hit that subscribe button and make every moment count.